So today, after my call with my therapist, I realized so many things, and as Virgo is in the ninth house for me, and we having it right now, like, we have in South Node in Virgo right now. I really do feel like I can no longer like this whole culture of being your best self, being the greatest self. Like being so high up in the clouds, always pushing yourself to do better. And let me clarify this. I'm a Capricorn rising with Mars in my first house. I love reinventing myself. I love mastering things. I love being ambitious. I love being on top. I love being a boss of my life, right? And today we also spoke about responsibility, and she just put it responsibility as a really beautiful and positive word, because before it was energetically fueled with negativity. Because when we say responsibility, it means that you have to do something, you must do something. But today I just learned that responsibility is the ability to respond to something, and by that it means that you have choices in which way you can respond to something, because you have the ability to do it. And having the ability to do it means you have choices, right? Whether that is bad or good, you still have choices. And we went on to some things, and she made me realize that, yeah, like even that one thing that happened to me, that I felt like I had no choice, I still had a choice. It's crazy, it's magical. Anyways, I went out of topic. Sorry. Excuse my neurodivergent mind. All I wanted to say, I appreciate all those beautiful tools to make you great, but what I realized is that, wow, you see this? This is suffocation. Your body and your nervous system feels when you're pushing something so freaking hard, because you're in this perfectionism and then this maniac thing to do something and just do it, just do it all the freaking time. And because I have my Venus in Virgo, which is in my ninth house, it feels so freaking weird. It's really freaking weird. Because like a lot for me is always trying to prove something, and now this whole thing is being purified. Every person that had to prove something, I no longer do. And it started earlier, since like this whole shift was happening with the nodes. And now there's this whole clarity of how I see myself, how I respond to myself, how I love myself. Because we say, oh, I love myself because I respect myself and because I trust myself. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just that. It's like, but can you hold space for yourself when you have never learned that, when no one has ever teach you that? Can you hold space for yourself to be imperfect, to be totally messy, to be not even a hot mess, like an ugly mess? Can you do that? Can you be ugly? Can you let yourself go through the phases and have this cyclical phase of nature? Or do you pressure yourself to be perfect, to always be on top, to always respond, to always heal, to always do that, to always purify, because that is crazy, because that's the shadow of Virgo. Too much purification, too much healing, too much perfectionism, because like always trying to purify something, like all these people, that have this fear with, just don't remember the word, I'm going to write it down. So yeah, there's people that have fear with with that one thing, and they need to cleanse themselves all the fucking time. That is not balance. That is not harmonious. That is being freaking crazy. I don't know where I left off, because my phone said, oh, you have no storage. So here we go again. But yeah, all this, yeah, I was saying I'm a control freak. So being control freak, it's being out of balance. And I mean, like, you will be out of balance sometimes in life, right? You won't be perfect. But yeah, like, we're discussing, like, it's Virgo is basically Earth, you know. It's also another sign, and it's basically Earth. It's trying to show you the hair, you know, like, hey, here, you know, like, Earth has its cyclical nature, and we do not force things. When you are in your winter, you shouldn't be forced to bloom, okay? And when you are your um in your spring or in your summer, you shouldn't supposed to feel like you need to fall right now. You need to sleep. You need to, you know, like, go through death, right? Like, each season has its own magic and beauty, but we have to understand that that is the cyclical nature, and it's not always doing, because it's also the feminine energy, which is like, we're flowing, we're transforming, okay? And that takes time, and nothing is perfect. Actually, it's chaotic. It's chaotic because feminine energy going through the shadows and all, it's chaos. You know, it's chaos, but chaos is also a big alchemy of actually, you know, finding finally a safe space and a safe place. That takes time, but it can happen. It can definitely happen. All I really want to say is, like, I'm done. I'm done with this whole culture of always trying to be your best self, always trying, like, how about you just being human? You know, how about you just being? Because we're calling human being, not human doing, as someone said. And it's like, that's true. Like, you're a human being, you know? Like, in this life, you're going to become so many people. But at the same time, it's like, do not try to rush a whole beautiful ceremony, a whole beautiful process just because you want to get to the next line. Because it's not about the fucking result, and it's not about the freaking destination. It's about the trip, it's about the journey. And I try to remind that to myself, because right now I'm going through a lot. I'm going through a lot of effed up things. And I really try to recover. And as I'm doing that today, you know, when I was still reflecting on some things in my therapy, you know, she was like, okay, what are the things that make you feel good? And I listed them. And then she was like, what makes you feel bad? And I said, trying to find a solution, you know? Because that's Virgo energy. And that's where we are healing right now. That's where we are purifying right now. This Virgo energy, you know? Like, as a collective, that's what we are going to do. Like, purify this energy of perfectionism, of wanting everything to go right, of wanting to find the resolve, wanting to find the solution all the freaking time, of overgiving, of overanalyzing. And and we learn in this Pisces flow, which is healing, which is what is the true sacred beautiful relationship you can have with God, and what is also, you know, what is also flow, like flowing, you know, like trusting the flow, trusting yourself. Because to trust the flow is to trust yourself, and to trust that something is holding you. And yeah, we collectively go through that, and each of us on certain different areas. And for me, it's like in my higher, you know, like knowledge and mind, which is ninth house. And I'm like, you know what, like, yeah, I'm so done with trying to be the best version of me, with trying to be my higher self, with trying to, like, no, like, I'm being called, you know, like, slow the fuck down. In my, you know, like, everyday simple little things of the third house, you know, being my sister, being in my neighborhood, all those things, like, and using my voice as I'm doing right now. Like, I'm not being called to do something crazy. I'm not being called to, you know, and I took this trip, and this trip also was a big fact of my purification in Egypt. And it still is traumatic, and I will not stop saying that it wasn't, because some people may say, oh, you know, but you give it so much power. I'm just saying the truth. I'm just being honest. And what happened to me was traumatizing, because when you go to meet God in the most refined way and you come back, and then you also have to go back, your home and your body hasn't been safe in this whole thing, and it's not safe to go back to your home. It's freaking crazy. I can at least say thank God I had the support I had in either way it came, because as my therapist said today, like, you know, like, at least, like, you know, every person did what they had to do for you to be here, even if that was very little, because you are here. And yeah, but it's so depleting. Having to be perfect all the time is so depleting. Putting yourself into set standards that are inhuman, because first of all, what I realized is, like, I'm being inhuman to my own self. It's not just about other people, it's about me. Because while I'm trying my best, I still do not give myself props. And I understand this because I never learned to do that. I always learn, you know, on the next level, and all this survival mode, and all this thing that you never are being proud of yourself. You never are really, like, giving congratulations to yourself, right? And they didn't teach me that, you know. It was always congratulations when I was getting a degree, when I was getting a job, when I was getting something, a title, something. But you know what life has taught me? Like, it's not going to be all the time like that. Because you may win some battles that some people will never see. And they will never congratulate you. And they will never understand, no matter how many times you say. Because it's real. That's how it is, right? I have my moon in the 8th house. Also my North Node. I don't expect people to understand my struggle, because they will never see it. It's in the shadows. But I do see it, and I know. So I have to give props to myself. And as I'm healing, as I'm really trying to nourish my body and my soul and everything, I realize, like, oh, you know, like, I push and pressure myself so hard to find a solution, to do this, do that, because, you know, my nervous system right now maybe it's in a panic mode, right? And I understand why it's that, but then it's like me, which I kind of caught, you know, I realize and I catch myself being like, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, no, I need to chill. I need to give not only props to myself, but I need to give thanks to myself. Because, yeah, all these people were there for me and I needed them. But my body got me through all this because my body wanted to live and it did everything it could for me to be here. So it's going to be very, very inhuman and heartbreaking to push myself to a point of breaking when all I really wanted was to be here, you know? And I just realized yesterday, you know, as I was bathing myself and I was doing some massages in my bathroom, and I was like, you know what? I've been so bad to you lately because you're trying your best with your diet, because I'm insulin resistant. You're trying your best, you have some pains in your heart, you're trying your best with your emotional state, with your physical state, with your spiritual state, with your mental state. You're really, like, trying your best with your diet, with your nutritious, I'm saying that right? Anyways, you get what I mean. You're trying your best to give the best meals for yourself. You're trying your best to go through those panic modes and panic attacks. Sorry. You're trying your best to calm yourself down. You're trying your best to find the best people to help you. You're trying your best with looking out for help when nobody ever told you. When you're trying your best, you know, to hold on and learn about safety when you never learned that. And you have a lot of people who shit on you right now when they should be here. Like, you're really trying your best, and it's like, you're trying your best, bro. You're trying your best with writing journals, with recording videos, with doing this, with doing that, because you love yourself and you want to go to places, but you never truly love yourself, or you're not on a place when you really learn to love yourself, when you pressure yourself, when you put so much when yeah, when you put so much pressure to yourself, you know. And some people may say, but excuse me, but pressure is what makes the diamonds. Yeah, but there's this like Russian phrase that I learned lately, which is like, what softens the potato hardens the egg, right? Like, water can soft a potato, but a water can also harden an egg. And that is so true. Like, yeah, it's beautiful being a diamond, but maybe sometimes you just want to be like sand. Nothing. You don't want, you want to be as soft as sand. You don't want to be as hard as a diamond. Or maybe sometimes you want to be as hard as an egg, you know, not as a diamond. Or as soft as a boiled potato, right? But you don't always have to be here. You don't always have to be the diamond. And here comes also Korra, you know? It's showing up in my feed and Pinterest, on Pinterest, for some reason. I'm maybe going to rewatch the first season because it hits home right now, and this show has always been a big part of my healing. Every time I was going through the healing phase, I was always watching ADL and Korra, especially Korra, because Korra is one hell of an avatar. She goes through the most hardest transformations I have ever seen in my life. I have never seen a strong mother effer like Korra as a character, and Korra always reminds me myself. And you know, what's crazy? That people hate Korra as a show, as a character, and every person that hates Korra is deeply misogynistic, in my opinion. Like, you cannot make this shit up. Like, hating a person like her, who goes through hell and who went like through so much difficulties that Aang couldn't even, because Aang had like in 3 seasons one freaking enemy. It's freaking effed up, you know. And I had a lot of friends in the past which they were ridiculing the show and they hadn't watched it, and that's because Korra is a woman. That's why they didn't like it, because it's not Aang, it's not man, it's, you know, whatever, boy. Yeah, it's people who have that are deeply misogynistic, and Korra is a show for really deeply rooted people and really spiritually involved people. But yeah, Korra comes to my mind because Korra is a very hated character, because Korra always reminds us that we're human. That at the end of the day, she is human. At the end of the day, yes, she is a superstar. She has superpowers, but hey, at every moment she can die. And she always reinvent herself, and she always put herself into so much danger. And that's what she always teaches us in every season, that she can really lose her life. Not just her freaking powers, you know. She can lose her life. She can really be harmed to a point that is deadly. And she reminds us that, hey, you know, like, even a hero with powers can die. And nobody likes that, because everybody likes to see, so that, you know, the character and the hero is super freaking strong, and they're super freaking perfect, and, you know, they don't make mistakes. And that's why they don't like Korra, because they always remind them that, yes, I'm a hero, yes, I have powers, but hey, you know, I'm a human being. I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to choose wrong. Guess what? That's because I'm growing. You can never truly master things if you do not make mistakes. There's a reason why we say failure is the mother of success. Because if you do not fail, if you do not make mistakes, if you do not know how it feels being at the bottom, if you do not know what you do wrong, you can never learn how to do it right. And yeah, they always spoke so ill of Korra, but now for so many years I also understood Gabriel, and like now it's hitting so freaking hard. It's hitting so freaking hard because like I'm in this recovery of her in the fourth season, right? Like she tries to find herself and she just wants to be like far away from everyone. She do not want to be close to anyone of her peers, which are not going to understand her struggle. She do not want to be a gravitor right now. She do not want to even be an outer. She just wants to freaking be. And that hits home because that's it. Like some people really have it tough, and Korra had it tough. Like she almost freaking died back there, given her all. And still in fourth season you still see that people still shit on her because people are just people. People are never going to be, like, please, no matter what you're going to do, because a lot of people be having a problem with themselves, and a lot of people just love the drama. And no matter how much you self-sacrifice and you sacrifice for people, because maybe that's your calling, to help them in some way realize or to harmonize things that she did, with universe and humans and all that and spirits. Some storage problem again, not all of them, but a lot of them are not going to understand, and they're never going to, like, people even treated Jesus like shit, like garbage, like like I don't expect things from people anymore. And what I realized till now is that all these people pleasing tendencies that I had till now, to please people, to be liked, to be loved, be loved who I really am not, because I put on a mask to please you, right? And I'm not just blaming others, I'm blaming also myself, right? And you will never have people like respecting you when they're not on your level, and you will never have people truly understanding and appreciating everything you do for them, because like you really have to have people on the same level of not only frequency and just resonance, but just struggle. So people really have to struggle to understand your struggles. There is no other way. And there's also like with people, like, when people really want to go places and they want to uplift themselves, they have chose that. But then you see some people who they do not, so that's why they act in a certain way. That's what they're being so self-critical, and then very critical of everybody else around them, because first of all they're self-critical with themselves. So it's like, Korra wanted to do her best because that's her purpose, to be the arbiter, to bring the harmony. But but some people just not on that level yet. Some people just don't freaking get it, and they never will, because that's what they are. Let's freaking face it. So yeah, a lot of empathy for Korra, and I know how it feels and how it is giving your all, fighting with all your mind, all your soul, and then being the most traumatized person in the freaking room. I know how it is being the most kind, the most strong of them all, and seeing yourself falling to the biggest bottom of them all. Like, I know how that is, and I can truly understand and empathize with Korra because of it. And yeah, I'm so down with just being your best self, being your higher self, and these new portals and this new and just quantum leap, and just give me a fucking break, bro. Like, yes, I'm a spirit. I'm a spiritual being and having a human body experience, but because I'm having a human body experience, I really need to ground myself, and I really need to be human right now, right? And I do a lot of grounding lately because I've been so high and so up that I need to just tune it the fuck down. And I have so much energy in 12th house. I love spirituality. I love being up. I never liked being human. I never liked human beings. You know what I'm saying? That was until my big ayahuasca breakthrough. Yeah, the great ayahuasca. And that was a big thing that happened, that opened me up and made me realize, like, you know, I want to be here in this dance reality. My soul wants it, right? But I'm also spiritual, and I feel like right now in my life I'm really being asked to just tune it the fuck down, like have more joy, have more fun, be more human. You forgot about that shit. And there's nothing wrong with being spiritual and looking all that, but it's like, you know, where is the freaking balance? Where is the freaking harmony? Like, we always have to wake up and thinking, am I being my best self right now? Am I doing the best thing again, or am I not? Like, yeah, sometimes you won't do the best thing, and sometimes you will fuck up, and sometimes maybe you choose the wrong things, and that's fucking okay, because guess what, you're a human being. And I have learned to be so responsible, and then I'm like, you know what, I don't care. I don't want to be responsible for some things, right? Like, I just want to do something and just don't care. And you know, human beings like to escape a lot, and I'm since I got in this path for so long, I was the type of person that, you know, like, no, I want to deal with things. I don't want just to, you know, like escape from them. Like, you know, like I want to deal with them. And then, you know, I'm at this stage which is like, sometimes you really have to pick your battles, and sometimes you really have to think if you need to respond to something or not, if it worth your time, your energy, and your emotional being. Because some things maybe don't deserve that. But yeah, I'm tired of that, and I'm trying to change it. I'll speak more as I'm doing that about it. But, you know, firstly, like, you know, what are the things that I like to do? What is my purpose? You know, and my purpose is to be happy. Some people be thinking that their purpose is to be a teacher and that and that. You know, and that's cool. You know, like it gives a meaning to your life. But I found out that just trying to put so much pressure on a title of I need to be a teacher and I need to be a yoga instructor and I need to be this and I need to be that. I need to be the best author or the best artist. No, like, stop. You know, like, stop. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, you know, your purpose is to be happy. At least that's my purpose. And I feel like most of the people purpose, right? And I was thinking of how I'm going through so many grief stages through generally, you know, sadness and so much change and death and you know, like putting out all those layers and skins that never were truly mine, and how I need to also have happiness, because like no person can be sane for so long if they don't have at least something that they, you know, that they're escaping their reality from, or that they're having fun and enjoying hockey and all, you know, like, because you need that. You need to cry and laugh at the same time, or in the same percentage, you know, or like at least do that in half percentage if you cannot do it like 50-50, right? But yeah, sometimes it's really, really, really important to do that. And I just realized, like, yeah, my purpose is to be happy, and the things that I have to be happy. And then I felt my body like being like, ooh, you know, because like it's just like, oh my gosh, I haven't learned to bring happiness and joy to my life. I have learned how to struggle, how to go through hardships, how to get through them, but I have never learned to be happy in this whole, while all these things are happening, you know, because you can find at least like 5 minutes in your day, even if you're grieving, to laugh with someone, or from a show or from a book, or I don't know, like a comedian from YouTube, right? And And I feel like we have lost that. At least I have lost that because I became so serious. And it's like what Matthias Tesfaye says, because I really do love Matthias. And he said, like, you know, most spiritual people are so serious. And I hate that. I hate being spiritual because I want to have fun. And now I get that. Now I get why he said that. Because it's true, you know, being spiritual, being all that makes you so freaking serious. And it's like, most of the people that go to spirituality had some really traumatic things that made them really responsible, really adult-like, really serious. And they don't have to be serious all the time. Like, they can just laugh, they can just have joy. They need to stop seeing so much the depth. And I mean, like, sometimes that's weird. I understand. I 100% agree. But also at the same time, it's really important to have joy and have this childish-like behavior. Whatever that is, you know, it may be just fully dancing in your room, like being yourself freely and shaking your ass without thinking anything, right? And maybe just writing a Wattpad about fanfic. It just may be whatever, like speaking with your friends and just being silly, like. And I feel for so long I took myself so seriously, and that is unhealthy. That is illness, like, straight up. So here we are. I guess that's where I need to draw a line and say, you know, like, this is the video for today. So thank you so much for listening. I just freestyled flowing with Jana. This channel is to remind me of how important it is to flow, and generally to trust the flow. And I hope that channel also brings that feeling to you. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have a great day, evening, or night, whenever you're really watching. And I hope I kept you a sweet, nice company.